Welcome. This is the Messiah Revelation Ministry, prophetic ministry dedicated to the end times. Because we are in the end times, we need to know our assignments and the mantles that we have. And the Lord is going to rely on his servants because in the end of this, the Lord will reveal his secrets to his servants who are the prophets. Occasionally, I receive some emails and people ask me questions about dreams and visions that they have received. And so today I'm going to use the opportunity to talk about the prophetic ministry, preparing for the prophetic ministry, and knowing when and why you are called as a prophet and some of the challenges involved in the prophetic ministry. And if you are a prophet, the first question you ask yourself is, who called you as a prophet? A lot of people say they are prophets, but they are not called. And so our discussions will give illumination about who is a prophet and when a prophet is called, why a prophet is called, and then the challenges involved in the prophetic ministry. The first comment I will make is that nobody can call himself as a prophet. And a prophet is called, whether people call him a prophet or not. A prophet is called and is called by God, and a prophet is commissioned by God. The prophet Ezekiel, Daniel, Jeremiah, Moses, they were all commissioned by God. And there's a way that you will know that you are a prophet and you are called. So we will go through all those scenarios, and we take the case of Jeremiah. When he was young, he was called at a younger age, and it's possible that somebody will be called at a later date in his life to be a prophet. But the question we ask is, when does the Lord call a prophet? You were called a prophet 10 years ago. Does it mean that the Lord to be a prophet 10 years ago? No. The calling comes, and the calling comes before your birth. And so a prophet is not called when he is born. The prophet is called before his birth or her birth. And we use Jeremiah as our illustrations as we read Jeremiah 1, verse 5, talking about the call of the prophet Jeremiah. And the word of the Lord came to me, saying, the word of the Lord came to Jeremiah. And so there's a time that the word of the Lord comes to somebody, and that is very, very important. For Jeremiah, the word of the Lord came to him, and it was very clear as we read Jeremiah chapter 1, verse 5. Before I formed thee in the belly, I knew thee, and before you came forth out of the womb, I sanctified thee, and I ordained thee a prophet unto the nations. And so Jeremiah 1, verse 5 is very, very important because it gives some specifics about the prophetic calling and the reason for the calling. Jeremiah was called when he was in the womb of his mother, and he was sanctified. And when somebody is sanctified, the person is made holy. It's not that you are holy, but the Lord who called you is holy. And so he will make sure that he will impart his holiness on you. And that's why we talk about the holy prophets. It's not that the prophets were holy, they were men who sinned, but the caller, Elohim, is holy. And so they are holy prophets of God. Jeremiah was sanctified and he was ordained. And there was an ordination process. Nobody calls you as a prophet, and the Lord doesn't call you as a prophet, and he does not ordain you. He ordains you. And another word we use is that you are commissioned. When you are called, you are commissioned. So Jeremiah was ordained by God, or he was commissioned by God. And then the other issue is what was the purpose of his commission? He was commissioned to be a prophet unto the nations. Every prophet has his prophetic assignment and the reason for his calling. Jeremiah was a prophet unto the nations, and Apostle Paul was a prophet unto the Gentiles. And so, to answer the call, when is a prophet called? The prophet is called before the prophet was born. You were called before you entered your mother's womb. In other words, you were called before your birth. And you were called before the foundations of the earth. It's very difficult for people to understand how come a prophet is called before the foundations of the earth. The Lord is Alpha and Omega. He created the heavens and the earth, and His word created the heavens and the earth. And there was a time that He elected His servants. And so a prophet is called before his or her birth, and the prophet is called before the foundations of the earth. And some people will not be able to understand the foundation. Why are you called before the foundations of the earth? And the Lord knows the end from the beginning, and He calls His prophet. He knows who are His prophets, and He knows when they will be born, and He knows when in their lifetime the awareness will come that they are prophets of God, and when they will begin their assignment as prophets of God. And so it's very important we ask this question: how do you know that you are a prophet? We are going through that because some people have prophetic giftings and they are prophets or prophetesses, but they are not aware that they are prophets or prophetesses. And so we are going through the question: how do you know that you are a prophet? To answer, we use the Bible as an illustration, and we go to Samuel, a major prophet, a seer. And for Samuel, he was young. He was called when he was young. And he was called, or the Lord called Samuel. He mentioned his name, Samuel, Samuel, and Samuel didn't know who was calling him, because at that time he was spiritually blind. And so when you don't know that you are a prophet, even though you are a prophet, I would say that you are spiritually blind at that time. The Lord has not alerted you about your prophetic mantle, or the Lord is alerting you, but you are not paying attention. And so that is very important. It was the priest Eli who told Samuel that anytime you hear your name, say, Lord, speak, that servant heareth. Eli was matured in the word of the Lord. He was a priest, and so he knew how the Lord communicates. And so he knew that Samuel was called by God. Eli knew that Samuel was a prophet, even though Samuel was young. The Lord will call his prophet at any age that he chooses to call the prophet. And you call his prophets, and you look at the people that he calls and the words that are used in the calling, and they are all very, very important. So first of all, you can be called by a voice coming from Elohim himself, as the prophet Samuel was called. The second way that you know that you are called is the dreams and the visions that you have. People dream, they have visions, but a prophet is set apart. This is how the Lord reveals himself to his prophets. And the scripture is found in Numbers chapter 12, verse 6. There, the Lord said that if there's a prophet among you, I will talk to him in visions, and you speak to him in dreams and visions. Basically, dreams and visions are divine communication methods that the Lord uses to talk to his prophets. Numbers 12, verse 6 talks about it. It is important to know the distinction between a dream and a vision. Very easy to make a distinction between a dream and a vision, but dreams and visions are different. In some cases, you see something, and the Lord is communicating to you, and you only see something, you don't hear anything. And it's not easy to make a distinction between a dream and a vision. However, when we're talking about visions, and we are talking about something that you see, and you see